Jodhpur, world famous for its blue buildings. Centuries ago, Brahmins painted their homes blue to be distinctive. The tradition continues. Jodhpur was the capital of the Kingdom of Marwar in present-day Rajasthan. By the early 1900s, Marwar stretched almost 100,000 square kilometers. That's bigger than Switzerland and the Netherlands put together. Marwar extended into the Thar Desert. The riches of the East and West passed through it on the great trade route between Central Asia and Europe. Marwar was ruled by the Rathore clan, Suryavanshi Rajputs who traced their mythical descent from the sun god. They named their garh, or stronghold, Mehrangarh, derived from the Sanskrit Mihir, meaning the sun. But Marwar and its citadel were not built in a day.
The Rathores did not belong to Marwar. They came from central India. Rao Sihaji, who's considered to be the founder of the dynasty, he along with his clansmen rode to the outskirts of Marwar.
About 800 years ago, the Rathores arrived in Marwar as refugees, fleeing their homeland in Kannauj, ravaged by the Afghan raider Muhammad Ghori. An old painting depicts their flight westward in 1226 to find a new life. Years later, they reached Marwar and in time rose to become its rulers. In 1459, the reigning Rathore, Rao Jodha, began the construction of Mehrangarh.
Jodha felt the time had come for the Rathores to have their own citadel and their own capital. He must have explored the terrain. There's a mountain called Bhakarchirya, the mountain of the birds, which rises out of the desert plain like a colossus.
The Bhakarchirya hill was a 400-foot-high extinct volcano with sheer cliffs, strategically perfect. But building a fort on it meant cutting away millions of tons of volcanic rock. A contest of man versus mountain. The Khandwalias are a community with special skills. Khand means stone in the local language. And true to their name, these men know all about it. Work began on the mighty fort with native insight and humble tools.
They have traditional wisdom of knocking on the stone and hearing the vibration and knowing the faults.
Faults are fractures within the rock that weaken it. Knowledge passed down the generations taught the Khandwalias how to identify a rock's faults by sound. Bit by bit, Khandwalia teams skillfully chiseled away a mountain.
We know of another very specialized community that were traditional heavy lifters.
The Chawalias were medieval earth movers. Using a simple rod and chain method, they lifted heavy loads. Then, on ingenious wooden ramps, they carried the millions of tons of stone needed to build the fort. Mehrangarh was built with the sweat and toil of relay teams of Chawalias. Incredibly, no drawings or plans of the building exist. The structural engineering was probably based on traditional knowledge. The architectural marvel spans the full length and breadth of the hill. Ramparts at multiple levels and row after row of perimeter walls provided many layers of security. The fort accommodated the royal family and a full military garrison. Keeping out the enemy was paramount. The thick walls could withstand heavy cannon fire. From its commanding height, Mehrangarh had clear sight and strategic advantage. Over 5 centuries, 25 successive Rathores added to Mehrangarh's scale and beauty.
Apart from its massiveness, it preserves a delicate heart within.
Palaces, pleasure gardens, art, This was royal Rajputana at its finest. But the arts flourished so long as Marwar prospered. Prosperity demanded blood and sacrifice. Before a battle unto death, the Kesaria ritual was performed. It represented the ultimate sacrifice.
Actually quite a sad ritual because it's the last battle. When they knew that they could not win, the odds were against them, but they did not surrender.
Death was acceptable, dishonor was not. The Rathod leader sat with his men for one last time. From his royal hand, he offered his brothers-in-arms the opiate potion. They removed the ornate turbans and changed into simple saffron, invoking the spirit of sacrifice.
They would present their swords in a display of loyalty and fealty to the Maharaja, and he would put a tika on it. And then they would ride out for their last battle.
In 1741, the Rathors of Mehrangarh rode out to their deaths in the Battle of Gangwana. It was the way of the Rajput warrior, the stuff of legend. Songs of valor are still sung here in Mehrangarh, the Citadel of the Sun.